21 female, 20 male. My boyfriend has a weird understanding of what happens at a sleepover. I have been dating this amazing guy for 6 months now, and it's his first serious relationship while I had a few BFS before him. But what I really love about him is that he is really good at communicating his feelings, and then he listens to what I have to say and we eventually find a common ground. Anyways, my best friend was having a sleepover last weekend. It was me, her and 3 other girls. I was of course excited, but I could tell something was bothering him. So I asked, and he first tried to deny anything was the matter, but eventually he said something which completely blew my mind. He said, "I know at some point you guys will end up without clothes. Or maybe in your lingerie, and I don't really have an issue with that. But I would really appreciate if you didn't cuddle any naked, wearing lingerie." I almost laughed. Like, why would I cuddle with my friends naked, or why would all of us be in lingerie in front of each other? Then he said he understands what goes on at an all-girls sleepover. People, I was really at a loss of words. I told him on our sleepovers we are all in our comfy pajamas, eating junk food and watching some movie or series, or maybe thirsting over some K-pop celebs. But I could see he didn't believe me fully. My question is to guys on Reddit: what the fuck is going on? Ask him where he learned what happens at sleepovers. He's watched too much porn. Elmau, that is hilarious. I didn't know anyone actually believed that. Just set his naive ass straight. Ask him if he ends up naked and sucking his dude's cocks at an all-guys sleepover. When he looks shocked and outraged and says, "Hell no," say that's what you heard goes on. I couldn't help but chuckle reading this. His confidence in what he understands about a sleepover is amusing. I guess spell it out for him that porn is not real life. I'm surprised he didn't tell you to stay away from your best friend's dad at the sleepover because, well, you know. My 30F mother, 63F, is tearing my relationship apart. I, 30 female, have been in a relationship with my boyfriend, 30 male, for over a year. We get along great. He is my best friend, my confidant, he makes me happy, and I love him very much. He is the man I want to spend the rest of my life with and have children with. His family loves and adores me, has welcomed me with open arms, and has treated me like one of their own from the beginning. The problem lies with my family, especially my mother, 63 female. My mother is an interesting person to say the least. She is a loving and caring woman to her family. She is always available for you at the drop of a dime, but she also has a dark side. She is an extremely jealous person. She is judgmental and holds grudges. She has ruined relationships I have had with others and even with family, and she is on track for another checkmark in her book, all because she wants to be number one in my life. My boyfriend and I enjoy having kinky, rough sex. We discussed this at the beginning of our relationship, discussed our likes and dislikes, boundaries, what we are willing to try, etc. We enjoy slapping, biting, and choking. He is the dominant one in the bedroom and I am the submissive. We have a very fulfilling and enjoyable sex life. Unfortunately, my mother has seen a bruise or two on me. Reddit. Please don't go off on how juvenile and stupid I am for not covering them up. It was in the dead heat of July on a beach going in and out of the water all weekend. And instead of speaking to me about it like the adult I am, she has concocted a wickedly fictitious narrative in her head about my boyfriend and is running with it at warp speed. She is accusing him of being physically abusive toward me, that what he is doing to my body does not constitute love, saying that he is emotionally abusive. What kind of a person does this? He is mentally unwell. He needs to seek out help and see a therapist, etc. My mother is threatening to out me to my family about it, and is now threatening to call law enforcement. I am at a loss of what to do. She is refusing to accept and respect my choices and it is exhausting. It is next to impossible to talk to her about it because every time I do, she seems to accept what I say, and then all of a sudden a switch is flipped and she goes absolutely off the wall. She calls me horrible names, and says horrible things about my boyfriend. She is refusing to let him in the house, she is refusing to see him. All he wants to do is prove to her that he is not the horrible monster she has perpetuated him to be in her head. My boyfriend and I have talked at length about how serious this relationship is to both of us. We want to move in together and start our lives, get married, start a family, but he cannot do any of this with me unless he is accepted by my family. My relationship is on the line and I don't know what to do anymore. Not trying to be harsh, but your mom isn't the one ruining your relationships. You are the one allowing her to. Sounds like it's time for you to make a choice. Keep your mom in your life, and never have a healthy relationship with anyone, or cut her out. Those are the only two choices she has left you with. As for her telling other people, who cares? I'm fairly certain everyone knows exactly how she is. Since I'm also fairly certain this isn't a one-off, crazy protective moment, but rather an exhausting pattern. As for law enforcement, in the US they likely won't do anything, but if you want you could call the non-emergency number and tell them your mom will likely make a false report and see what their advice is. So how many relationships does she need to ruin before you realize she's not the healthiest person to have in your life? How much abuse are you willing to take? You should make a report or call the non-emergency line to see what your next steps are if she does get law enforcement involved. How can you say your mother is loving and caring when all she wants is to ruin your other relationships so she can be number one? Do you really think that's what love is? If your boyfriend treats you right, consider that as a caring relationship. Your mother sounds abusive, actually. You need to start cutting her off. If you want to marry him, you need to pick him over your mother. This is not about the BDSM, it's about her possessiveness of you. If it weren't the bruises, she would have found something else. It isn't even about him, she would have found something about anyone else. You say it yourself, she's always been jealous. You need to start limiting her ability to sabotage your life. Some more subs that might help. Raised by narcissists. Even if she isn't a narcissist, they help with any form of control and abuse. Just no mill. They also help with mothers, and just no family. We want to move in together and start our lives, get married, start a family, but he cannot do any of this with me unless he is accepted by my family. Sure he can. You don't need mommy's approval to marry somebody. My 29M roommate, 30M, wants to move his girlfriend, 29F, in and we can't agree on rent. My apartment consists of 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Me and one other roommate have small rooms and share a bathroom, and the roommate with the girlfriend has the largest room with an en-suite bathroom. We all get on great and my roommate's girlfriend stays at ours around 5/7 nights of the week. His girlfriend is moving in at the end of the month, and he has suggested she pay a very small contribution off our rent, $50 each. I think it should be much more than this. We live in an apartment in a prime location, rent is split on the size of the rooms already. If they halved the rent for the largest room it would make it insanely cheap, and I would be paying around double what they are, which I don't think is fair considering we would all have the same amenities. How do I ask my roommate to see my point of view and ask for more money without making it awkward? Tia. The most fair system I've found for that was basically to split the bill this way. Calculate the price of a square meter, feet of the apartment, calculate the price for each bedroom plus bathroom. For you split the shared bathroom in 2. Calculate the price of common spaces pro rata of the number of people. In this case dividing by 4, split the utilities by the number of people. It's not necessarily the best way to make everyone happy, but it's by far what I found to be the most balanced. You stop worrying about making it awkward. He already has by wanting this change. You clearly tell him what you want or you don't agree. You are on a lease. You don't have to accept this change. He has suggested she pay a very small contribution off our rent, $50 each. I know a few cases where rent for the room stayed the same, however, bills, utilities etc. started being split by X+1 once a partner moved in. If you don't agree with him moving in his GF, you and your roommate simply need to step up and veto the decision. There should be 3 yes. Try a rent split calculator? Put all the details in as the house is just now. Then redo it with the main bedroom being double occupied and just go from there. A 4th person dramatically changes how cramped a space is. She will likely want the freedom to have friends over. Living with a couple is very different than living with roommates, so you need to talk about a lot. For instance, how are group decisions going to be made? Because basically they have half the votes now. This is going to drastically change your comfort level. $50 a month, to me, is ridiculous. I would not give anyone a free ride like that. Figure out the appropriate math and go from there. But also consider all the other ways having a couple living with you could affect the harmony of your apartment and talk about all of those things in advance. I'd chat with the 3rd roommate solo, too, to make sure you are both on the same page. My 24 female, BF, 24 male, wanted $150 to bring my forgotten wallet to the airport. Hi. I'm a first-time poster in this sub. Had to repost this because I forgot to include ages in the title. On mobile and I'm just typing what's in my head. Sorry, it's long. I, 24 female, NB, made a massive mistake this morning and forgot to pack my wallet in my carry-on bag before leaving for the airport. I had to drive late last night and took it out of the carry-on into my purse and forgot to put it back. 100% my fault and tired brain. So, I called my boyfriend, 24 male, who I live with and have been dating for almost 2 years. He is at home about to head out for work and running late. I ask if he could bring me the wallet because I can't Uber home and back in time, and the airport is packed. He says he can't and I'm begging at this point, and he says he can do it if I pay him $150, but he also sounds very unhappy about it, which is totally fair because it looks bad to call out from teaching last minute. I'm a little shocked he wanted that much, but I assume that would have been lost wages for him. I tell him hold on, I'm gonna call my manager. I work in surgery and I'm flying West Coast to East Coast for 2 spine surgeries on Monday and this flight can't be missed. I'm still mortified I made such an amateur mistake. Anyways, I call my manager who is definitely at home sleeping. Explain the situation. He asks if I asked about my boyfriend and I explain the $150 thing, and he says JFC and says he'll help me. I want to make it clear my manager and I have a long-standing professional relationship, 4 years. And he has a son my age and it couldn't be more a platonic mentor situation. I really trust the guy and the main reason I'm with my current company is because he's great at his job, which makes my life easier. Anyways, my solution has arrived. My manager is willing to sacrifice his Sunday morning to save my ass. I'm grateful and relieved. I call my boyfriend back and explain the situation, and ask if he could stay 10 minutes to meet my boss outside with the wallet. He says he can't, he's just running too late. I say okay. Then could you please leave it on the kitchen counter? He doesn't respond at first. Then he starts going off about how he doesn't want a man he doesn't know inside his home and that it's too intimate and strange. I told him I trust my manager and he can't help me, so my manager is doing me a huge favor by helping me instead. Summary. My boyfriend is pissed off and my plane boards in 30 minutes. I think I'll barely make it. I don't understand why he is so upset with me. He thinks I crossed some kind of line, but I was backed into a corner and there were no options. I can't even begin to explain the professional consequences of missing this flight because I was forgetful. How do I handle this situation with my BF? He knows how screwed I was and what my job is. I love him, but I'm feeling really bitter about how everything played out. Any genuine advice, clarity would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for reading this far. Trust your gut. He just told you who he is and whether or not you can't count on him in tough times when your back is on the line. Your boyfriend was unwilling to help you figure out a solution or accommodate the solution you came up with. When high consequences were on the line, he made a lose-lose scenario for you. He didn't help, he punished. Not great partner or parent material. Life is full of these types of situations. You want a partner you can count on. Your boyfriend sucks. I can understand him being annoyed at the inconvenience and saying he can't bring you the wallet because he has work. But he could have also offered to meet you halfway, tried to see if a friend could have driven it to you, or at the very least cooperated once you figured it out with your boss. The $150 charge is super weird and says a whole lot about how he thinks about finances in a relationship. The discomfort about your boss being an unknown man coming into your house would be the final straw for me. He's like actively trying to make you miss your flight at this point. You just found out you cannot rely on your BF. This translates to every high and low in a relationship. So are you playing chess or checkers? What the actual hell? My husband could have left his Nintendo Switch at home before a flight and I would have brought it to him because wow, amazingly that is what partners who love you do. Never would I ever even imagine charging him money to bring him something so important in an emergency or deny an alternative solution. This sounds like some weird power play and is about control more than anything emo. I'm impressed. Your boyfriend is remarkable. He might be the first ever discovered specimen piece of sentient garbage.